Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second edition of the Band Directors Workshops here at the High School Summer Band Camp at Southern University here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm Dr. William Irvin, Director of Educational Partnerships and Institutional Sales for Conn-Selmer Incorporated, and we're happy to be here with our partners at Southern University Human Jukebox, and especially proud to be here with one of our educational clinicians from Conn-Selmer, Dr. Marcus Morris, who will be presenting today. Dr. Marcus Morris is Assistant Director of Athletic Bands at the University of Georgia, the Red Coat Band, and let's welcome him to our workshop today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Irvin. I appreciate that. So today, the title of my workshop is focused on you as a director, but also you as a person. And so I want you to think of your favorite song, okay? And whenever you think of your favorite song, the first thing that probably comes to mind are either the lyrics or the beat of the song, right? And so you're listening to it, you're grooving, and you're thinking, all right, yeah, that's my happy place. And you want to keep that beat. So for me, I look at that as like with my career and my sustainability with my career. How do I keep the beat? How do I keep the passion for music education going? And so what I'd like to talk to you about today is a little bit about how to avoid burnout. Because that's what happens to us when we get so deep into our jobs that we lose ourselves. We lose that beat. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about myself, and to know me is to know my family. First and foremost, I love my family. My wife, who is a product of Baton Rouge, a proud product of Baton Rouge, and then my three princesses, who are my everything. And then, as you can see as well, I love the people I work with. I get to do a lot of great things at UGA, but I really get to spend time with people, pouring back with local directors to teach them how to continue to sustain their careers. And so what I'd like to do is I want to do a little self-check. Okay, so we talk about our musical terms. So pianissimo, all right, I'm a cool, calm, I'm chilling, I'm okay. To fortissimo, I've got a lot of stress. I'm experiencing a lot of things. I'm bouncing a lot of things off my plate. My phone's constantly going off. I got deadlines. I got this performance to worry about. How are you truly feeling? And I want you to take stock of that for a minute. How are you truly feeling? Where on this spectrum do you fall? So I want to give you a little bit of information. What is burnout? Well, everyone knows what a match is. You've struck a match before, and when you strike that match, initially the stem is whole. It's fresh, it's new. So I'll give you all this definition stuff, which basically says burnout is a syndrome. It's a medical thing where you have experienced stress to one extent or the other. And I like to use this graphic with the match. Stress starts with subtle dissatisfaction, where, something just kind of bothers you, but you push it to the side. You suppress it real quickly. It's nothing, okay? But then as that match continues to burn, you get subconscious disregard, then conscious numbing. Then you get to the point where it's full-blown trauma, where you're at the end of your match. And that's because you've continued to ignore things one way or the other. So for me, I want to pose the question to you, what is burnout? What do you think burnout is? When you hear that word or that term, what is that to you? Anybody want to respond? What do you think burnout is to you? Infinite fatigue. Yeah, that actually a great way to sum it up. It's fatigue, and it just continues to happen over and over again. So what causes it? What do you think causes that? You keep going until you can't go anymore. You keep laboring. You keep, let's say I just kind of ignore things that bother me for a while, but then they keep building up. They keep building up. Well, it's stress. Stress is what causes it. And stress leads to burnout. It's fact. It's medical fact. Stress leads to burnout. And so a couple of definitions to throw your way. So we've got stress is basically a state of mind where it results from adverse conditions. We're going to put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. Stressors are things that are external or internal that cause stress. So you might be thinking right now, all right, well, a stressor may be my commute to work. Maybe I have a long commute to work. I have to deal with traffic. That's a stressor, okay? And then occupational stress, basically stress born out of your job, out of what you do every day. What are things on your job right now that are occupational stresses for you? Something that you do that's, maybe it's extra paperwork. Maybe it's an extra duty that they threw on you because you're just another person and you're available during this time of day. Okay, that's a stressor. That's occupational stress. And so moving forward, there are two kinds of stress. There's healthy stress, okay, good stress. Maybe you go to a theme park. I just took my family on a small little vacation, and we went to a theme park, and they had a great time. That's good stress. That's the excitement from going on a roller coaster or seeing your favorite characters walking down the street or whatever, things like that. Or you get ready for a nice family dinner and, you're ready for that nice piece of pie or piece of cake at the end. That's good stress. That's excitement. And then you've got the unhealthy stress, which is acute, which is short. It's small. But then you also have got chronic, which is repeated. Like Dr. Jones said, the infinite stress just continuing to build on you. And then those are things when you experience when you encounter something you fear. And so for me, that could be anything. You could fear, oh man, I got to go deal with little Johnny who can't play his scales again, and I keep teaching him the same things and he's just not getting it. Or, oh man, that kid's got two left feet, but they wound up right on the front line of the formation. So I've got to teach them how to march correctly because we're going to be, we got a game next week and someone's going to film it, whatever the case may be. And the thing is, at the bottom, it says we add unnecessary stress to ourselves. I want you to think about that. We add unnecessary stress to ourselves. Yes, that kid has two left feet. That kid was probably born that way and has always been that way. But it didn't become an issue until we realized he wound up on the front. And so we got to do something about it. During my research on this topic, there are 10 things that lead to burnout in education. And I want you to look at these with me. And I would like for you to take your phones and I want you to type in your notes app 3 of these 10 things that impact you the most. And so we've got time. Time is a stressor, whether you come in early or you leaving late. Workload, paperwork, grading, extra extra paperwork that maybe your school has you do to justify one thing or the other. Okay, student behavior. Now I know we all deal with the best students in the world, so maybe student behavior is not a stressor for you. Apathy, that could be a stressor. That's student behavior. Salary. I mean, I'm sure we all make millions of dollars to do this wonderful thing we call music education. So maybe salary is not an issue for you. Maybe that's not a stressor. Added accountability, state testing. State testing. How many of you have been impacted by, have your rehearsals impacted by state testing? I believe all of us. At some point or the other, state testing has impacted your rehearsal time. Parental behavior. That's a stressor. Funding, money for your program. That's a stressor. Administration support. That's a potential stressor for some folks. Time away from family. Well, when you're at work, you're at work. Many times in our profession, though, when we are not at work, we're still at work. So you may be in the house with your family, but you're mentally at work. And then extra duties, car line, lunch duty, whatever the case may be. So type 3 in your phones right now. We're going to come back to that because we're going to be able to find a couple of ways to tackle those. All right. And so we talked initially about when you strike the match, you have that initial ember that's burning. You've got that initial flame. And if you don't do anything about it, it's going to continue to burn. So stress can make you lose a piece of yourself each time you fail to effectively respond to it. You lose a piece of yourself. This is you, big puzzle made up of all the experiences that you've been blessed to be a part of. All the experiences in your life have made you who you are today. 2025 version of you is way different than the 2019 version of you, okay? If you think way back before that little thing we had called a pandemic, 2019, that version of you is a little different now because one way or the other, you weren't responding to stress and you lost a little bit of yourself, okay? So it's inevitable. I'm not here to tell you that, oh man, we can avoid burnout altogether. Nope, you can't avoid stress. Because again, there's a couple of types of stress. There's good stress and there's bad stress, but there's no way to avoid it. So what can we do? Some quick hits right now, okay, to start our conversation. You got to recognize stressors. Well, you got 3 in your phone that impacted you, and I'm sure if we went around the room, each of you would have 3 different ones because they impacted you in one way or the other. Schedule me time and set boundaries. I'm going to say that one again. Schedule me time, you time. Not necessarily family time, but you time for you. Setting boundaries. Streamlining processes in your program. How can you get those bus requests done faster? How can you automate that? Or how can you take what you do every day and figure a way out to make it go by quicker so that you can get to the teaching, the real meat and potatoes of the things, or get to your family. Travel and unplug. That's a big one. That's a great thing to do. Travel without your band, without your musical group. Travel without them, because that's not the same. And then the other part of that is real tough. Get away from social media. That's a tough one. It is great to do if you can do it, but I recognize that's a tough one. And then park further away. Get more exercise. You know, science has proven, yes, the more exercise you do, the better you feel about yourself. Not everyone will have time to exercise. Clearly, I don't. But what I try to do is I try to park further away. I try to do small things that will help me. All right, I'm going to get a few extra steps in today. Okay? So we're going to go over this next thing. It's called a self-care matrix. And it's just a nice little way to show, okay, you've got to do some quick renewal things. And quick renewal could be, you know, let me take some breathing exercises. Let me do some quick mindfulness. Okay? Let me listen to that favorite song of mine, that favorite artist that I love. Okay, things like that. Then you've got daily practices, gratitude journaling. For me, I don't like to spend tons of time writing, but I can type a couple things in my phone, and I have a notes app that says, I love. And it's I love ... and it's a gratitude journal. And I'll just throw a couple words in there every once in a while. I don't do it every day, but I do every once in a while, and I could come back to it and look and realize, wow, I've got a lot of things that I love about my job, about what I do, about who I am, my family, all of those things. And that reminds me, hey, that's a great daily practice. That reminds me, okay, I get to do this job. I get to do these things. So then we're going to go on to weekly restoration. What are you doing weekly? Well, how many of you get a chance to still play your instrument or sing or take part in some musical something? If you do, yeah. If you do, isn't that great? Like that is what we got into music for in the first place, is to create music. We got into it to be music educators. We got into it to be band directors, not really band correctors, but band directors. We oftentimes wind up being band correctors because we're ready to get to the fix this, do this, do this, do this, do this, instead of, all right, let's really talk about the artistry of how we could make music, not just fixing notes and rhythms all the time. And then deep renewal, creative projects, professional development like you're doing today. You're here, you're getting some professional development, you're renewing yourself, and you're getting to a point where you can take some tips and some tricks to help just move you along and help you continue to avoid burnout. So we got three areas that I want to kind of hone in on. And these things are proven to help you manage burnout. So we've got setting boundaries. That is hard to do, I understand. Because you want to be there for your family, you want to be there for your friends, for your job, okay? You feel like I've got to be there on the job, or I have to be on the job all the time to be good at what I do, or for my students and community to be proud of me. It's not true. You got to set some boundaries, setting clear and start and end times so that you can also set non-negotiable personal times in your schedule. Well, what's non-negotiable? What's the non-negotiable? That's something that you absolutely have to set. For me, in our band room, they've got to come into our band room a certain way. For many reasons, safety. There's one way in, and then there's another way out. We can't have everyone trying to come in both areas because it'll be chaos. Okay? Well, that's a non-negotiable. If a kid comes in the outdoor, I'm pointing this way. Go back around. Oh, Dr. Morris, go. It's a non-negotiable. Well, you got to do the same thing with your schedule. How many of you are able to set your phone to do not disturb so you can just do something you enjoy? We all can do it. Whether we choose to do it or not, it's a different story. But I'm here to tell you today you can. And it just just try it once. Set it to do not disturb, and then just find something that you enjoy doing and just do it for a few minutes. See what that does. And using technology thoughtfully, email management, notification settings, I talked about that just a second ago. Then emotional regulation. So we talked about setting boundaries. Emotional regulation, managing performance anxiety. I have been teaching 22 years plus now, actually, almost 23 years. I get a healthy performance anxiety when my group is about to go on the field. And that's good. I've been teaching that long, and I still care. I still love it. That's why I get anxiety. Our students get it as well. So how do I manage it? Well, for me, I take a deep breath, and I usually just kind of look up and just say, all right, cool, here we go. And I smile. And because I know regardless of what I taught my students, regardless of all the great things I may have been able to do, it's in their hands, and there's nothing I can do about it. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where I'm excited because, again, I get to do this. So the other thing is dealing with disappointment. So emotional regulation, again, you're dealing with the excitement, but then you also got to deal with the disappointment. I shared this story where, and I'll share it here, we had a game that just happened to be televised. And we were at pregame, and a student got sick, so we had to sub a student in. Unfortunately, the student that subbed in didn't get the instrument in time, and they wound up marching with a mouthpiece. And, great student. He did what he had to do. Well, the disappointment came 5 minutes later when some of our colleagues were texting us screenshots from ESPN saying, hey, y'all had a kid out there without an instrument. And at the moment, we were just like, oh man, it's kind of disappointing. Oh well, It's okay. He was on TV. You know, he got his 5 minutes of fame, and, you know, we'll fix those systems and processes. But initially, that was a little disappointing to have to hear that and to deal with it. But it comes with the territory. So again, emotional regulation, and then processing your emotional investment in student outcomes. What if I told you, let's think back. Some of us think back a little longer than others. When you were back, some of us think back a little longer than others. Years old, an 11-year-old you. And I came to tell you, hey, you're going to choose a career where you are basing your success on emotional teenagers and young adults. And that's how you're going to get paid. Think about that for a second. You're going to have an emotional investment in the student outcome. And these are going to be teenagers and young adults. And that is what you're going to be emotionally invested in. Now, I'm telling 10 and 11-year-old you this. Okay? Sounds kind of funny, right? And that's exactly what we do. And so, again, I'm not making little of it, but what I want you to understand is you've got to be able to regulate that emotional connection, that emotional investment. Because, again, we do love what we do, but we are basing some of it on our student outcomes. And students are sometimes, they're not able to process things very well. And sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. And then, you know what? That's life. We're like that as well. Last one is community building. That is affectionately called who's in your group chat, who's in your team that you can go to, and who's your network that you could talk to. You can send a video and say, hey, can y'all give me some feedback? And you know it's a trusted space. Or someone you can call up and just say, hey, could you listen to this recording for me? Or would you mind, I'm having trouble with this kind of thing. Could you give me some things that you do? Community building, so creating supportive networks, mentorship, getting a mentor. I have mentors today that I can either text or call. Some of them don't even know they're mentors of mine. I just watch them from afar and I take notes. Because for me, I want to be able to learn and watch how they move and then continue to emulate that so that I'm better for my own program. And then collaborative planning, whether you're blessed to work on a team of directors or if it's a director team of you still can collaboratively plan with either the other music teachers in your building or your other band directors. Like I said, who's in your group chat. Okay, the other band directors in your area you can plan with and just say, hey, how do you do this travel plan for such and such school? Or how do you do this logistics plan for this trip? Plan together. So, it's funny that y'all are here because I did put this picture in this slide a few weeks ago. Let's talk about this as a group. So which strategy, one of these three before, setting boundaries, emotional regulation, or community building, which strategy resonates with you the most? Okay, which for me, while you're thinking, for me, it's really the community building, because in that, I can do the other things, okay? In community, my community helps me to manage my emotional investment, but also helps me to set boundaries. And that's just for me, because I have a great community of friends who I can call on, or sometimes just check on and say, hey man, just thinking about you. Are you good? Are you actually good? Let's talk. And so, what strategy resonates with you the most? You've got 3 stressors in your phone right now that you unknowingly put down because they're the ones that are worse for you. So what strategy can we use now to attack those? Community building, setting boundaries. Here, I'll put those back up for you real quick. Emotional regulation. Which sticks out to you? Anybody?
I chose time for my stressors.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries.
Time is one of your stressors, so setting boundaries is key for you. And that's something that you can say, that's going to be my thing this year or this fall. You could even break it up and compartmentalize. So this fall, I'm going to set more boundaries because time is a stressor for me. So if I set boundaries, I'm going to be able to have more time for the things I love or the people who love me. Great. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. What is a strategy? And again, I'll go back to these. What's a strategy, setting boundaries, emotional regulation, or community building? What's one that you have successfully implemented? Has anyone been successful with this? I see a lot of minds going. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I wasn't here. I just walked in. I missed the stressor. But
Yeah.
community building, I feel like I'm a band director from Kansas City.
Okay.
So that is very successful for us. In the
Nice.
past few years, just building that community with parents, directors, and students, and
Yeah.
The community is really good for us.
I love that. And so through that community building, you're able to still learn how to maybe set some boundaries. And again, like for me, regulate emotions. Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good one. So what challenges, because I saw some of you were thinking and then you had that look on your face like, yeah, but. So what challenges stand in the way of following through with one of those strategies? What stands in the way? Let's be honest. What stands in the way of it? Time is probably one of them because you feel as if you don't have enough time to do that. You feel as if I've got this performance coming up, I got camp coming up, I've got this, and then all of a sudden we're into the next week and the cycle starts over again. For me, for honestly about 10 years of my life, that's how it was. It was, I don't have time for that. So everything else, I'm just scheduling. And then I realized that some of my mentors weren't looking as stressed as some of the other people in the game who were like the greats. And I asked one day, one of them, how do you deal with this? How do you manage all this? And he said two things to me that stood out. One, you will die. We were all born to die, so let's get that out of the way. But you will die with an inbox full of emails. And then he also said, I want you to realize something. As great as you are and as great as you will be for your community, they will post your job before they post your obituary. And he said, there's nothing against you. I don't want to strike fear in your hearts. I don't want to do anything like that. But I want you to realize that when you leave this earth, they are going to more than likely post your job before your obituary. And then you're going to die with an inbox full of emails. So, and he said, so I say that to tell you this, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. You'll get to it. You're going to still be a great director, but you got to make sure you're great for your family, you're great for your friends, and great to yourself. I said, okay, that makes sense. And for me now, I say that to y'all that you are your longest investment. You are your longest investment, not the car you drive, not the house you bought, not your children, as wonderful as they may be or will be. You are your longest investment. You are with you from the time you were born to the time they lay you to rest. You are your longest investment, so you got to take care of yourself. So we're going to talk about some strategies real quick as we move forward. Decompress daily. And these are a lot of things that I at first knew about and I didn't necessarily do, but you got to take time each day to decompress from the work day. Find something to do that gets you away from work, okay? Something you enjoy. Again, back to that favorite song of yours. Maybe it's that. Relax. Do something relaxing, even if it's just for 5 minutes. How many of you are able to decompress? Like truly get away from work and you decompress. Would you mind sharing maybe something that you do to decompress?
It's mostly when I go home, after work, after rehearsal and everything. Like, I won't look at my phone. I say like, oh, I'm gonna post updates later.
Yeah.
I go home and rest. I like watch YouTube, make my dinner.
Love it. Love it. What else? I saw a couple more hands.
Some of the same things. Try to talk about something that's not band. It's so easy to call another band director, another band person. What y'all doing over there?
Yeah.
So just try to get out of that band space for a couple minutes.
I love that. I love that. You have one?
Spending time with children, reading a book. I like to tend to my plants.
Very good. So for me, I enjoy every once in a while playing games. I'm not great at it, but I enjoy it, and it's just my way of about 20 or 30 minutes just to decompress and get away from things. Great. So, all right. So here's some slides to kind of maybe further illustrate this. You got to not forget to laugh a little, okay? But it's also good to cry. Cry a little as well. Release those emotions. I hope that when I become the age of these two people, that I'm able to smile as genuinely as they can. Because let me tell you, these two look like they don't have a care in the world and they're truly enjoying life. So laugh a little, cry a little, release those emotions, deal with them, process them, because wouldn't we all want to get to this point where we're loving life, enjoying life? Do they look like they're worried about a performance coming up? Are they worried about a deadline or worried about state testing or any of that stuff? They're not. They're not. Some other things to do, seek therapy, okay? Talk things out. You know, therapy is okay. Many of us with our insurance plans, monthly visits or consultations are free. Use them. You're paying for it anyway. Use it. Or just talk with someone else. Like I said, that friend group, that group chat, or that trusted individual that you can say, hey man, I'm not okay. I'd love to talk, or I'd love to talk through some things. Don't carry that invisible backpack alone. And so what is that? Well, everyone carries an invisible backpack. You all have one on right now. And what is that? Well, that's back to when you didn't deal with those stresses. What happens? Well, you still carry them. You just throw them in your backpack. Throw them in your backpack, okay? And then after a while, what happens to your backpack once you keep throwing things in it? It gets heavier. And that weight is a stress on you, and you keep carrying that weight. Well, you can unpack that backpack by just doing some of the things we talked about. Talking about things other than band, okay? Could be talking about grilling or whatever, food or whatever, travel, real estate, all these things like, well, that is a stressor sometimes, but things that are outside of just the normal day-to-day, but things that are just changing the subject. Let's change the subject. Let's talk about something different and something we all enjoy. Here's something I want you to read. I know that at the top you're thinking, man, that's easier said than done, Doc. You saying all these things, yeah, decompress, try to set some boundaries, but I got all this time in my schedule that I got to do this. It's easier said than done. That's true. However, every music educator sacrifices something to get the job done. This last part, but you don't have to sacrifice yourself to have a great program. You don't. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to say that one more time for you. Yes, we all sacrifice something to get the job done, and that's okay. But you do not have to sacrifice yourself in order to have a great program. So I want to move forward so that you understand that, and we're going to do some action plan. We're going to do a personal commitment plan. So you started out, you've got those 3 stressors in your phone. Here's what I'd like for you to do now. You're going to, in that same note, you're going to do my commitment to managing burnout. One boundary that you're going to establish or maintain. Type it out, whether it be this week, this month, or this school year or semester. One boundary. What is a boundary you're going to set? And you all know it's going to be different for all of you. That could be, hey, when I get home, I'm going to do 20 minutes without my phone at home. Or I'm going to make sure that I schedule me time for Mondays and Wednesdays. Whatever it is, just go ahead. Again, it's a personal commitment plan. This is something for you, okay? And for all of you watching as well, this is something for you. What's your personal commitment plan? One boundary that you're going to establish, okay, or maintain. If you've already set that boundary, what's one you're going to maintain? Second thing, one self-care practice that you're going to commit to implementing this week. Okay, this is Tuesday. So what is one self-care practice that I'm going to implement? What am I going to do for myself this week? Do something for yourself. Okay, you are your longest commitment, y'all. You are your longest commitment in this world. You deserve to do something for yourself. So whatever that's going to be. And then my last one, you've got this really done already, but what's one sign of burnout that you're going to watch for as an early warning? What's that thing that you strike that match, what are you going to watch out for? What are you going to say? All right, I know that's a stressor. I know here comes little Johnny again with them 2 left feet. All right. How am I going to regulate my emotions so that I realize, you know what? All right, you got 2 left feet. Here's a new drill chart. You are now no longer on the front or whatever. Just kidding. whatever you could do to whatever that sign of burnout is, you need to notate that so that we can just be aware of it, okay? So again, before I move forward, again, it's your personal commitment plan. One boundary you're gonna establish or maintain. One self-care practice you're gonna do for yourself. You are your longest commitment, y'all. You owe it to yourself. And then one sign of burnout that you're gonna look for an early warning sign, okay? Whatever that is, okay? And so kind of in closing, for those of you who I'm fortunate enough, we're connected one way or the other, I always try to throw good into the world because I know someone may be dealing with something that, and maybe just will scroll by my page and find some encouragement. And so I try to leave some words of encouragement for you. And these are just a couple. The first one is, it doesn't make sense, it just has to make you happy. Whatever you enjoy doing, that's for you to enjoy. It doesn't have to make sense to the world. It just got to make you happy. That's at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. And then for all of you who do this thing called education or working in the corporate world, whatever it is, there's somebody in this world thanking you for the difference you made and you don't even know it. Like I said, there's a couple of mentors that I have that I haven't really told them I'm watching them like that, or I'm watching how they move, or I appreciate them, and I should, but I'm very thankful for them. They don't even know it. So the last 3 words, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep doing what you're doing. Figure out ways to manage your burnout, manage your stress, so that you can continue doing what you do. Couple of more as we do. Any questions or reflections that you guys have? A couple more I'd love to share with you. Make sure you surround yourself with people who would mention your name in a room full of opportunities. Okay? When your group that you go back to your trusted group chat, are those people also taking your name to places that you may not even know about? Are they advocating for you? Okay? And then the last one that I post quite often because I want you to be aware of it is know the difference between those who stay to feed the soil and those who just come to grab the fruit. There are going to be people in your life who will come to feed that soil, tend to that soil for you, and build you up and nurture you. But then there's a lot of people who just come to grab that fruit. And they'll taste it and get a piece of it, and then they're gone. So, questions or reflections. This is my contact information that you could scan and let me go to this side, scan and get in touch with me. I'd love to continue the conversation. If you don't have someone that you feel like, hey, I could connect with, or just someone I could just reach out to, I could be that person for you. I would love to continue to share some motivation for you, help you continue to feed your soul, tend to your garden, and we can be great together. So I thank you for your time. If you got any questions or reflections, this is a great time for all of that. Everybody's scanning.
Dr. Morris,
Yes, sir.
elaborate, I guess, when did you have your aha moment of I have to kind of change what I'm doing to prevent the proverbial burnout?
Okay, so my aha moment came during my dissertation when I studied stressors. I did my dissertation on the stressors of high school band directors. And the more I read, the more I started realizing that what I was experiencing, being agitated easily, being frustrated a lot, was not because something was wrong with me mentally. It was because it was a physical chronic condition brought on by stress. And then that's when I said, wow, not only, of course, I was in the middle of writing that paper, but I realized I've got to change my life, because the things I love the most, I can't be around for if I keep going through this cycle. So that aha moment came honestly about 4 years ago. And it has been very life-changing. It's been very life-changing. Another time was just seeing our group chat evolve into something that's the most wonderful, safe space. And seeing that I'm not the only one dealing with things, and realizing that this person dealt with this and they're okay. This person dealt with this and they're okay. And together we're all like, hey man, are you good? Hey, checking in on you. Sometimes we'll just text and call each other and say, you were on my mind, so I just want to make sure you were good. Those moments came over the last 4 years and have just been very transformational for me. Yes, sir. Yes.
You spoke about not giving up. Is there a time where you felt like giving up?
Okay, yep.
Can you talk us through that?
I love that. So yeah, absolutely. There have been times when I felt that I was a failure because I was so emotionally invested in my students' outcomes, and when they didn't get that straight superior rating or they didn't get a placement at a contest, I called myself a failure. And this was younger in my career, just honestly between years of, I was about 5 to 6 years into teaching, all the way up to about 12 years of teaching. I based everything, my self-worth, and I'm just being very open with y'all, my self-worth was in ratings. It was in ratings and performances, and did we get, now back then, because I'm not that old, but I'm just gonna say it. Back then, the whole likes and the views thing wasn't a thing really back then, so it wasn't all that. You know, nobody was trashing us on social media because it wasn't like that then. But in the community, if they didn't see us a certain way, and so I wanted to quit education. So what I actually wanted to quit band directing. So what I did, I actually started steps towards that. I said, all right, I'm gonna go be an administrator because they don't deal with all this stuff. They don't do these things. So I got a degree in administration and supervision. And I was ready. And then I thought, wow, that's a boring job. It's great job. Sorry, any administrators watching, but I realized, man, that's not what I love. Sorry, yeah, for the administrators in the room, sorry about that. But it's not what I love. I came into music because of musicians. I wanted to create music. So now I'm about to go be an administrator and I don't get to do any of that? Nah, not for me. So I through those things, I was able to work through and realize what I had was great. And so I can't give up. And one more, if you don't mind, there's really some friends in my group chat who've just been like, hey man, you're doing great things. I see you, I got you. And those times have been really pivotal for me. They've happened at times when I didn't know I needed it, but I needed it. And so that helped, that community building that we talked about, that community building we talked about was key. Because I was at a point, we're good anyway, I was at a point where I kind of needed it, but I didn't know I needed it. And so that community was like, hey man, let's go break bread together, let's go talk. And so thankfully I've had that, so that's why I believe in community building. You gotta have that group chat, and it don't have to be big, but it's gotta be people who will ride for you or pull up when they know, hey, I might need somebody. So anyway, sorry, that's a long answer, but those are the times when I was like, yeah, man. And so that's why I speak to this today, because I'm not telling you things just that I read. I'm telling you things I've experienced, I've lived, and I'm thankful that I'm here today to continue to talk about it. Any other reflections, questions, comments?
Question?
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no.
Do you mind sharing one of your boundaries or things that you do, especially because you have a high visible position that I know a lot of people aspire to do one day?
Yeah.
But the perception of that can be you have to work, you got to grind, you got to hustle, you got to do all these things to do that. So
Yeah.
do you mind sharing just some of your boundaries that you set to avoid that kind of burnout factor?
So some boundaries that I set, when I get home, I try to have 20 minutes of just decompression time, not on the drive home, because if you know Athens, you know that when school's in session, we got some students who like to drive kind of fast, and it's a little crazy sometimes. So I like to get home first. Then I get home, 20 minutes, I'm decompressing. I'll say hello to my family and all that good stuff, but then I need 20 minutes. And that could be just me, whatever it is, but I gotta have that 20. Once I have that 20, I'm good. And it's not every day, but I do have to try to do that. There's also boundaries with my phone. My phone goes to usually do not disturb or some mode where only my people in my group chat can contact me or my family. And I do that on purpose because I do not want to look at work emails later at night, because I've realized if I do that, then I'm going to sleep thinking about that email from wherever. So I've set that. And then one more boundary that I've set is I make time for my friends, because I've found that I can, through me lifting them up and checking on them, I heal myself. And so I make sure I make time for my friends, and that's a daily practice. Some of you in here, I've texted, off to the side and just say, hey, you good? How you doing? Just want to, you're on my mind. Or, hey, man, you're killing the game. Proud of you. I got you. Let me know if there's any way I can support you. So I heal myself sometimes through supporting others. And coming here to doing stuff like this. Those are great things that I enjoy, and that's a boundary I set. I push all work stuff to the side so I can come to do things like this. Good?
Well, real quick, how is it some of the things that you experience dealing with this, and of course the mental health side of things? How does that directly impact what you do with your students? And do you recognize any of the same tendencies in those students that you work with on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely. So with our student leadership, and one of the parts of my job is conducting student leadership seminars and training leaders in our program. They're the same way. I've got to teach them time management. I got to teach them about setting boundaries. I've got to talk to them about how do you problem solve so that you can not only get to have a great performance, how do you problem solve so that you can be a better person for you as you're on your educational journey. And so for me, I've taken a lot of what I do with adults and directors and created that for our students so that our students understand that they're going to be our future leaders. They've got to look for these things earlier on. So hopefully they'll be able to manage burnout better than some of my colleagues who are later in their careers and just figuring out why they're so stressed. It's a great question. Yes, sir.
So when you talk about burnout, most directors want to emphasize to the students about the importance of practicing. So when they don't practice and they come back the next day the same way, mentally, how you deal with it?
So and that's little Johnny Left Feet, and I'm gonna call him that. He has a name, but I'm not gonna say that. But little Johnny Left Feet, he keeps coming back with the same two left feet, and he also won't practice. And for us, it's one of those things where I try to differentiate instruction to an extent where if I get tired of it, then you know what? I realize, okay, I might not can change Johnny's left feet, but I could change where Johnny's left feet are in our production. And I could also change the way I look at it. That kid needs band more than the band needs him, but I could figure out a way to meet both things and say, all right, maybe I'll just change where he is. Or maybe I'll continue to pull him off to the side and just get to know him a little better. Hey, are you good? Or, what are some things you enjoy? Cool, you enjoy playing this game. Cool, so what if you played this way? Or I try to get to know him. And then for me, I don't look at him as, man, that's just student S1 or Z1 or whatever. That is little Johnny Left Feet. And I just smile and just think, okay, all right, he's not going to change. I'm going to change my perspective on how I view him. And yeah, we'll probably change his drill set too.
One of the things I know that we discussed earlier was how you all, and particularly at UGA, your rehearsal schedule and how efficient you are with the use of time.
Yeah.
How important is that with your lifestyle in terms of making sure that you're straight in terms of your mental health, your physical health, all those kind of things, and making sure that the students are learning that as you have those 2-hour rehearsals?
Yeah, we do. So public knowledge, UGA, we only rehearse twice a week during the game season. On game weeks, we do rehearse 3 times a week because our students come from so many different parts of our campus or throughout the Northeast Georgia area, and so we get them twice a week. So what I try to do is we preach time management. We give them schedules in advance. Here's what we're working on. Here's the music. Here's your dot. Here's all your stuff through UDB and Beam, and you can look at it. You can practice it on your own because when you come here, we're coming here to rehearse. We're not coming to practice. And so that's a thing we talk about a lot, and especially in life. You're going to practice the things you're going to do. You're going to practice driving before you're out there on that interstate. And so you've got to make sure you're prepared. And so we preach that a lot. Sometimes we have to re-preach it and reteach it. But for us, we have to be efficient. Efficiency is the name of the game. When you're trying to move 400 students into a stadium packed of 90,000 people and out, in a timely and efficient manner, you got to be efficient. So we preach that a lot, and then we relate it to life, where, especially with me in my life, I've got to be able to navigate my schedule and still create times for the things that make me whole again. And so it's all about time and efficiency and making sure we are prepared. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any other questions, comments, reflections? Yeah.
How do you handle a lack of administrative support?
Oh, that's a whole nother session. How do I? So I will. It literally. So handling administrative support. Two things. Number one, you've got to learn to speak their language, because they don't. Even if they were a former music educator, it may have been at a time that's different than now. There's a different set of circumstances that we operate under now. And so you got to learn what they are thinking, what they're wanting from you, and then you got to learn to speak their language, which is literally another session that I do. Because, like I said earlier, when I was wanting to quit being a band director, I trained to be an administrator. I studied, I went to school, and I realized that I could talk a certain way as a music educator through their language to get them to see what I need. And that changed my relationship with administrators. And then the second thing is to continue to advocate for your program. Lead with your successes, with what you're doing with the program. Talk about data. They love data, okay? So how do you improve the graduation rate of your school? It's because you're increasing access in your program. And your program has students wanting to come to school, wanting to stay in school, wanting to behave in school, because they want to be a part of your program. And so you're able to talk through their language and help them see things through their lens. Let's talk after this, because I've got some things I'd love to share with you, and then I want to make sure we connect, because literally that is another session, but I can give you some things right now that'll help you. Good stuff.
Let's give Dr. Morris a hand.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
We'll be back in this room tomorrow morning at 10 with Dr. Tamika Holiday from Washington Marion High School. So we'll enjoy to see you tomorrow morning at 10. Feel free to elaborate some more with Dr. Morris on his topic today, or collaborate with each other on some topics that we can cover as we're here throughout the rest of the day. All right, thanks everybody.
Cool.